some ways, at some point in your life, everybody can be a lost rider. Good morning and welcome to the second half of this week's news from the camp house, and or you may be listening to the Lost Rider Podcast.com. So anyway, all right, now we just finished the first half, and Shane laid it out. Shane is the, what do you call it? Advocacy
Director.
You're the lobbyist for CCA, right?
Man, I don't register as a lobbyist, and
okay.
So I'm not a lobbyist.
Okay, all right. But you spend time in Austin with your ear to the ground.
I do.
Okay, all right. So that's everybody got that straight. And Shane just explained to us in the first half of CCA's position on this Kingsville desal efforts. And why, CCA and everybody always want to re-inject this discharge, what you get from the desalination process. Just put it down a re-injection well and don't mess with it. Now, when I interviewed the South Texas Water Authority, of course, they were a little hesitant to say what they wanted to do. They said, well, they wanted to explore all their options. And yes, they wanted to put it in the creek after they had treated it. Now, also part of the, I was reading everything I could get a hold of and talking to everybody, and I heard it both ways. I went back and looked after we talked. You and I visited a little bit, and then I went back and reread, and I've got both instances that I read where, some people were scared the discharge would be too salty. Other people read that the discharge would be too fresh, which is what you just told us, which was not what I understood. But the idea was that if you run it through a water treatment, you can make it be whatever you want it to be, whatever it needs to be. That's the technology that we're wondering about here, because that if you run this stuff to a treatment plant, even the deep water discharge, if you look at how the deep water discharge has been done in the past, it's not just pumped up and shot out in the Gulf. It goes through a little process of settling ponds and stuff until it gets pumped out there. So there is a process of how this goes. And that's what always concerns me, because the day is coming when you're not going to be able to just keep pumping this stuff into the ground. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah, well, what makes sense to me is locating desal facilities, ideally near a port, somewhere that you have close access to deep water, and construct them on areas where they're scalable, to where you can increase capacity, and you're really not. The only thing that ultimately limits your increase in capacity is supply of power and the pipe size that you're able to utilize to get the intake and the discharge offshore. So doing these one-off small plants scattered across the state, and looking at them individually as to their potential impacts on the coastal ecosystem, I don't think is a smart way to do it, because you get the end result is, the old saying, a death by 1,000 cuts. We'll end up continually degrading the water quality that's going into our bay systems. I think it makes a lot more sense to do offshore,
right,
and in spots where you can scale up production and have capacities of 100 to 500 million gallons per day,
right?
Rather than brackish water plants that get you 3 million or 10 million gallons per day.
Yes. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I mean, instead of a bunch of little ones.
That's my approach to it.
All right. Okay. That makes sense too. Part of what makes me scratch my head is knowing, we've been watching this for 25 years on this radio show, and and it's finally become affordable now, and we can see what's coming in the future. And it's what I told you, off the record was that, I already heard engineers talking about pumping up desal, pumping up frack water and cleaning it up and putting it back in the system. And so all this stuff's coming. The other thing that's coming, that the state agencies have their official statements, and then they can look at you and tell you off the record, look, this is what's going to happen. And you can't really say, okay, we don't know when it's going to happen, but you know that it's just like the power. What we say, if you got the power to do it, this is all good. Well, the seawater thing down there at Corpus right now, that power is going to come off the grid. But long term, I'll bet you whatever you want to bet, there's going to be a little reactor down there. There's going to be a little nuclear reactor sitting down there that's going to power that thing. I'll bet you anything you want to bet.
Well, I wouldn't take that bet because I agree with you. I think these plants are supposed to be firm yield supplies, and so they can't. I mean, they can go offline, but they don't want to go offline, and their customers, which is in large part going to end up being industry, they need the water continually. Mm-hmm. So it would make a lot more sense to, and these reactors you're talking about are becoming more and more commonplace, and I think economically justifiable. So I think you're right. I think
okay,
all right. Have their small pebble bed nuclear reactors nearby and operate off of that.
All right, now there's another point I want to hit too right quick, because you said something that one day about water rights, and that even though we're going to add all this other water to the system, that the people who already have the water rights are not going to quit using what they got. I'm sitting here looking at this saying this is going to take some of the strain off the system, but maybe not, huh?
I don't think so. I don't. I mean, I think it's just a part of the portfolio of future water supply in Texas. River authorities we've always advocated for environmental flows, and we're trying to still get more environmental flows to the bay system. So we have a tough time doing that.
Right.
I just don't see these water authorities, river authorities, giving up any of their future coming out of these systems. I don't see it happening.
I look at it and I think, okay, if San Antonio and Austin start, San Antonio has a desal plant. Brownsville has a desal plant. Now, their desal plant was sold how many years ago with the idea that discharge was going to replace 1,000 or more acres of wetlands. And then once they did it, I think they just started re-injecting it too. But, it was sold to us with that thing down in Brownsville. San Antonio's got one. It's supposed to, add to what they need, that is what they already get from the Edwards Aquifer. I'm looking at Austin, and the Colorado River down here by me is just dead. Now, it's terrible. It's horrible. It's just a drainage ditch with all kinds of nasty stuff growing in it. And it's just horrible. I've never seen anything so horrible in my life. I said, why aren't people in Austin with torches and pitchforks right now screaming about the way our river looks? And, you don't see it. And it's if Austin had some relief, and of course they're not slowing down on growing, but if they had some relief, I can't help but think it wouldn't help our river, which in turn is freshwater inflow. Right?
Yeah, yes, and at the same time that water, there's no guarantee that water reaches the coast. I mean, the Lower Colorado River Authority has plans for at least, I think we may even spoke about it, 3 off-channel reservoirs.
Right.
Coming down the line,
and
then there's some talk about there's some major industry potentially moving into Matagorda County, new plants coming that have water needs, and so they're in discussions with that river authority on how they can get that water.
Yeah,
and the LNRA is also considering pumping up groundwater. So in theory you're right, but I'm just saying I'm a little pessimistic when it comes to my view of that water ever sustainably reaching the coast.
Yeah, it's worrisome. It's worrisome. Well, there's not enough coming down here to share at all. Now it's pitiful. It's absolutely pitiful what our river looks like right now. And I look at this, I understand wholeheartedly. I'm all about technology. I think technology is going to come out and save the day. And I look at all this stuff from a theoretical point of view, that this ought to come out and work. We've been following this for 25 years. And if they say they're going to start pumping out these reinjection wells of frack water and start putting that back in, which is what I sat in a meeting and heard them say, that's what's going to happen in the future, that we're going to need that water. We need to let people know, look, this is what they're talking about, and they have the technology to do it. It's also pertinent to point out that, there's been some screw-ups in this old world, so you got to hold their foot to the fire, and if that's what they say they're going to do, we got to make sure they do it right.
Yeah, I agree, and hopefully you're correct. Hopefully, that water gets all the way down the river system and reaches our bays, because our shrimp and our crabs and all of our larvae that recruit into the estuary, they need those freshwater inflows. That's part of that supports the habitat, that supports those fisheries. Very important. Yep.
Shane, I appreciate you being with us this morning. I appreciate it. I got CCA's official word on the deal now.
You're welcome. Happy to do it. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Okay, just hang on just a second. Folks, I hope you enjoyed it this morning. Hope you learned something. Hope you got a little something out of all this. And now, this weekend's edition was also brought to us by the Shaw's Men Social Club, country club for folks who don't have a country club. Go out, have a good weekend, have a lot of fun, be safe, and y'all just remember, pretty much any day is sure a good day to be out in the woods.